Today on Public Eye News, Governor Whitmer provides her input on MSU's leadership, and later, a new nominee has been selected for the position of House Speaker.
Later, Taekwon Cox will have your sports update, and Brad Seaborg will have your weather forecast. I'm Marin Parks.
And I'm Austin Graham, and this is Public Eye News. In Detroit, the UAW strike against General Motors is expected to cut pre-tax earnings by $800 million this year and $200 million a week after that. According to GM's Chief Financial Officer Paul Jacobson, these figures only include the factories that are currently on strike. If more factories opt to join the strike, the losses will increase. Shares of General Motors are down more than 13%, a new low that the company hasn't seen since 2020. Earlier today, GM posted their net income of more than $3 billion from July through September, which is down 7% from around this time last year due to the strike. GM also withdrew its previous full-year pre-tax earnings estimates because of the strike's uncertain length. The UAW strike against GM and its competitors has been going on since September 15th. And in Madison, Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers and the Wisconsin DNR announced a plan to improve the state's drinking water quality. Evers and the DNR said more than $400 million has been allocated for financial assistance to more than 100 municipalities across the state to improve drinking water quality for Wisconsinites. This funding continues our commitment, said Evers, and will help accelerate our progress on lead service line replacements and addressing PFAS and other contaminants in drinking water in communities across the state. There are over 160,000 lead service lines in Wisconsin, and these funds will help municipalities reach their goals of replacing the remaining lead service lines.
And Michigan State University is once again under fire following calls from within the university's trustee board for the ousting of current board chair Rima Vazir this past weekend. This latest controversy comes following the recent firing of MSU football coach Mel Tucker, as well as the displaying of an image of Adolf Hitler on the stadium scoreboard before the last Michigan versus MSU game last Saturday night during a pregame quiz. As incidents begin to pile up, Michigan Governor and MSU graduate Gretchen Whitmer spoke out on her opinions of the administrative issues and lack of accountability in a statement released yesterday, which said MSU, quote, has been racked by scandal after scandal with no clear unified leadership or direction, and tragically, no accountability either, end quote. And on our very own NMU campus, the Department of Biology has introduced their new Be Well in Weston program, which aims to make physical and mental health activities on campus both accessible and fun. The focus of the program is providing an on-campus and at times asynchronous opportunities for students and staff to work towards wellness in a way that is tailored to their own personal needs. This month, Be Well in Weston is running a step counting challenge in which students can use the Tree Card app to record their steps, and for every 10,000 steps taken, Weston will plant a tree. Additionally, Be Well in Weston will be hosting a Halloween fun craft night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. tonight, during which participants can paint and take home a decorative wooden pumpkin for free. For more information on current and upcoming events, visit nmu.edu/biology/be-well-weston. And a father and son from Minnesota are being recognized for their heroism after responding to a car accident involving a semi-truck and an SUV. WCCO's Jason Rentala has more.
Just something completely out of nature, like something you would think you would never see in life.
Blake Crumry and his dad Paul are still shaken up after what happened Saturday afternoon. They were in the car with family, heading home along westbound I-94.
And all of a sudden we saw the set of tires.
That's when Paul says less than a quarter mile ahead, he saw a pair of wheels on an axle break off the back of a semi-truck. The tires went over the median.
The wheels hit right into the windshield and onto the roof of the vehicle.
Crashing into an SUV, heading the opposite direction.
Literally just crushed the vehicle from an angle. We knew people were injured pretty bad by just seeing how bad the car was crushed as it went by us.
Paul knew he had to do something.
We got to stop. We got to stop right now and help those people, because it was such a horrific crash.
So he and Blake ran to the vehicle.
I looked in the vehicle itself, and I don't even want to describe what I saw. I heard other individuals in the other side of the vehicle screaming.
Paul, with the help of his son, pulled the 3 surviving women out of the car, stabilizing the victims.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Skills Paul acquired in the military. He's a Desert Storm veteran.
Well, I was in the Air Force for 14 years. We just did a lot of self-aid buddy care.
Paul believes it was meant to be.
Something told us that we should have been there at that time, because I mean, what are the chances of, you know, somebody that can a couple guys like me and my son here can help out.
Just the right place at the right time.
And it's just one of those things, it's just, you don't forget it. And it's almost like stuck in your mind.
Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
Don't touch that dial. Brad Seaborg will be back with your weather, and we'll be back with your national news after this break. Stay tuned.
It's become a new thing for us to control our own image. It's about representing ourselves the way we see ourselves.
What we build is grounded in our songs, our language, our ceremonies.
We're engineers, we're doctors. We are doing things to make a difference in this world.
Our legacy will continue.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Bradley Seaborg, and I'll be taking you through our Public Eye weather update. Starting off with a look behind me at NMU's roof cam, you can see the first few drops of rain are starting to fall on our campus as the low pressure system moves in. Taking a look at our current conditions across the Upper Peninsula. Starting off in Houghton, we've got some clouds at 58. The first drops of rain in Ironwood at 59. More rain in Iron Mountain at 59. Some more rain down in Menominee at 58. Continued showers in Escanaba at 57. More rain in Manistee at 55. A little bit of sun peeking through in the Sioux at 59. And back in Marquette, those showers are starting with a temperature of 61. Looking to our current conditions, rainy 61, winds out of the southwest at 8 miles an hour, and the barometric pressure is 29.85 inches and falling. Looking at tonight, rainy 50 degrees and winds out of the north-northwest at 7 miles an hour. For tomorrow, more rain on the way, high of 50, low of 46, winds north at 10 miles an hour. Looking ahead to the end of the week, more rain on the way, Thursday high of 54, low of 47. More rain on Friday, but a little bit warmer, high of 57. Much cooler at night, though, at 38. On Saturday, first day of the weekend, more rain on the way, high of 42 and a low of 36. That's all I have for weather. Back to the news desk for our national news.
Thank you, Brad, for that update. Moving into our national news, in New Orleans, at least 7 people were killed on Monday in a multi-car pile mashup after a super fog of marsh fires and dense fog caused multiple wrecks along Interstate 55. According to the Louisiana State Police, there are more than 20 people that sustained injuries, all ranging from minor to critical, and the death toll could increase as first responders continue to look for victims. As of Monday afternoon, state troopers are still working to notify families, investigate the exact causes of the crashes, and coordinate with the state's transportation department to have an inspection of the bridge where the crashes occurred. The National Weather Service has warned that dangerous visibility conditions may return in the coming days. And in Washington, D.C., House Republicans have selected Representative Tom Emmer of Minnesota as their House Speaker nominee. Emmer won a simple majority of his colleagues in a private vote, but will need to gain widespread support of Republicans during the House floor vote. The Speaker of the House position has been vacant for almost a month after Kevin McCarthy was ousted by his own party. The federal government risks a shutdown if Congress is unsuccessful in passing a funding legislation by November 17th. The House is currently being led by interim Speaker pro tem Patrick McHenry, a Republican from North Carolina. Most Republicans vying for the Speaker position were 2020 election deniers, while Emmer has voted to certify the results. At this time, it is unclear when Republicans will bring his nomination to the floor for a House vote. And an off-duty pilot attempted to crash an Alaska Airlines flight on Sunday night by turning off the engine en route to its destination. Luckily, pilots were able to restart the engine and make an emergency landing. Correspondent Chanel Call has more.
Yeah, that would be a scary moment as a passenger.
Panic inside Alaska Airlines Flight 2059 after police say an off-duty pilot riding in the cockpit jump seat tried to cut the plane's engines.
We've got the guy that tried to shut the engines down out of the cockpit.
The San Francisco-bound plane made an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon.
We want law enforcement as soon as we get on the ground and park.
Where 44-year-old Joseph Emerson, a married father of 2 from the Bay Area, was arrested.
Seems like he settled down as soon as he, after one moment of going a little bit overboard.
All 84 people on board, including infants riding in their parents' laps, were safe.
Anyone who's a human being freaked out in that moment. I mean, we all were. I think at least the sense in my area on the flight was it was panic.
And this aviation expert says it was a close call. Not all planes can reboot their engines mid-flight.
Especially if you have a fire suppression system initiated. That might put you in a situation where you may not be able to start the engine until you have some ground maintenance done to that engine.
In an alert to airlines, the FAA said the incident is not connected to current world events. The FBI now investigating the motive.
We need to see what triggered him to do this. Is there an ideology associated with him looking to try and do this? Or is there just a mental instability?
Law enforcement sources say this does not appear to be tied to terrorism. Chanel Call, CBS News, New York.
And stick around because right after this break, we'll be back with your sports update. Stay tuned.
My people have gone missing since Europeans set land here on Turtle Island.
We took action just like you're doing today.
Oh my gosh, my grandma's part of that epidemic.
We demand healing and we demand justice. Our pain is not for their extraction.
You were meant to serve.
If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
Tonight at 10 on WNMU-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Taekwon Cox and this is Public Eye Sports. Starting off with some NFL news. The Detroit Lions recently faced up against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. It resulted in a loss for the Detroit Lions, being outscored 38-6 this game. Dan Campbell, the head coach of the Lions, believes they lost by this deficit because of the lighter practices they had going into the week. The Lions still have a winning record despite the blowout loss. The defense had a hard time figuring out former MVP quarterback Lamar as he passed for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with 36 rushing yards and another touchdown. The Lions next face off against the Las Vegas Raiders with an extra day of practice because they play on Monday night. And tip-off for the NBA is nearing, and we have the Miami Heat facing off against the Detroit Pistons. The Miami Heat has a fully healthy roster entering their first game, while the Pistons have second-round draft pick Isaiah Livers listed as out with an ankle injury. The Miami Heat finished the season in 2022 with 44 wins and 38 losses, while the Pistons finished 17-65. This game is scheduled to tip off on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. And in college football news, multiple Big Ten teams have found ticket purchases by a recently suspended Michigan football staff member who is the focus of the NCAA investigation. 11 Big Ten schools have claimed that Connor Stallions, an analyst for the Wolverines, purchased tickets to at least one of each school's games over the past 3 seasons, according to a report from ESPN. ESPN has also reported that Stallions had tickets to the past weekend's Ohio State versus Penn State football game, but went unused. One school has claimed that they have video evidence of Stallions using a cell phone camera to record games and will submit the footage to the NCAA this week. That is it for sports. Back to you with more news.
Thank you so much for that sports update. How are you feeling about that scandal going on in Michigan?
Yeah, for Michigan, I'm not really sure. I hear you have a few more stories for us.
I do. So over in Pierre, yesterday afternoon, a small single-engine plane was found about a half-mile away from a highway by the Hughes County Sheriff's Office at about 4:35 p.m. And though both the pilot and passenger were hospitalized, the passenger was announced dead briefly after the arrival, whereas the pilot is now reported to be in stable condition. According to local authorities, neither people were residents of South Dakota, and the names of them have not yet been released to the public. And so how are you feeling about us having multiple plane crash or almost plane crash stories today? Scary time to be flying.
Yeah, pretty scary time to be flying. I was just going to say that. Took the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, unfortunately, that's all the time we have today for Public Eye News. I'm Austin Graham.
And I'm Maren Parks.
Have a great day.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.
Thanks for watching Public Eye News. You can subscribe to our YouTube, tune into WNMU Channel 13 every weekday at 4, or follow our Instagram at NMU Penn to never miss a story.